What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of The Unbiased Hard Take. We have lots to talk about, lots to get into, massive basketball show for you guys this week, where it's all NBA Finals, where the New York Knicks have a massively surprising 2-0 series lead, going back to New York after winning both games in San Antonio. No team has ever come back from 2-0 to win the NBA Finals. So we have a lot to talk about as far as the NBA Finals, guys. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned for more. Again, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode. The NBA Finals is here and could very well be halfway over, because could we possibly have a sweep? I mean, New York went into San Antonio, immediately dismantled them 2-0 in San Antonio, heading back to New York, where they haven't experienced the finals since before the year 2000. So New York's going to be popping. They have a 2-0 lead, looking to make it a 3-0 series lead, which would pretty much guarantee the Knicks win the championship. So we have a lot to talk about, lots to get into, massive show, like we said. Before we get into it, we are going to get the formalities out of the way. Please subscribe on YouTube. Yes, down there, hit subscribe. You don't want to miss any of our YouTube content. We put out multiple videos a week, at least one short and one video podcast each week on the weekend. So subscribe. A lot of our videos, especially shorts, hit into the thousands of views, and we want to see those views turn into subscribers. So again, subscribe on YouTube and like us on Facebook. Again, a link to that will be in the description down below. We have a lot of good Facebook content, Sports Fact of the Day, and I'm dropping other dimes on there every day. So we have daily Facebook content, multiple posts a day at minimum. So daily content on Facebook and weekly content, multiple content on our YouTube page. So go check out both if you already done so. We appreciate the support from you guys as we are nearing 100 subscribers, and that's natural growth, and we get a decent amount of viewership. So we appreciate the support from you guys. But we're going to go ahead and jump right on into it, because Game 2 of the NBA Finals was last night, where the Knicks upset the Spurs in San Antonio 2 times in a row with a score of 105-104, and the Game 1 score was 105-95. So a 10-point win in Game 1, and then a 1-point win in Game 2 for the Knicks. And this big thing for me here is that not only did the Knicks take home court advantage, but they're going back to New York, going back to the Garden, where there's going to be a lot of hype. That place is going to be popping. They haven't experienced an NBA Finals, like I said, since before the year 2000. The last time they were in the championship was 1999, and it's been way longer than that since they've won a championship. And they can smell the blood in the water. It's not like it's 1-1. Because ultimately, the old saying in the NBA is the series doesn't really start until a team wins an away game, essentially. And not only did the Knicks win an away game against the Spurs, but they beat them both times in San Antonio in the finals. They beat them both times. So let that sink in. So they're going back to New York, stealing home court, because when you are going on the road without home court in the finals, really your goal is to steal one. But the Knicks got greedy and were able to get 2. And there's multiple reasons for that. I think ultimately what a lot of this is its age. I mean, I did pick the Spurs to win the series, and I was totally wrong. I thought it would be Spurs in 5, and it's looking like very well it could be Knicks in 4. I hope not, because after this is the dark times, and that's going to be very depressing, because there'll be no sports going on, no college basketball, no college football, no professional basketball, no professional football. There'll be absolutely nothing going on. So we want to see a longer series to prolong the inevitable as long as we can, obviously. But we just want to see good basketball in the finals. No one wants to see a sweep or a gentleman's sweep in the NBA Finals. You want to see a 6-7 game series. You want to see it dragged down tooth to the nail like the Spurs and the Thunder did. And a lot of it could be the rest as well. Because, I mean, you got to think, the Spurs just got done playing a 7-game grueling heavyweight fight against the Thunder. And the Knicks have now won, I have it right here, the Knicks haven't lost a game since the Hawks series, guys. I have the stats right here. They have a 13-game win streak. It's the second longest of all time, if I'm not mistaken, in the playoffs. So we're on a 13-game win streak. The Knicks haven't lost a game since the Hawks series in round 1. They swept round 2 against the Sixers, and they swept the Cavs in round 3 in the Eastern Conference Finals. And that's Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, James Harden, if you want to count James Harden as a legitimate playoff player. He's not, but that's a different James Harden in the regular season. He's not the James Harden that you see in the regular season in the postseason. We've already covered that plenty. So the Knicks haven't lost a basketball game in a long time. 13-game win streak in the playoffs. One of the longest streaks of all time. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's the second longest streak of all time. Again, fact check me all day long there. I'll tell you if I'm 95% sure that's true. But no team, this was today's Sports Fact today on our Facebook. Again, more reason to go check that out. No team has ever come back from a 2-0 finals deficit, like we said. And that's never happened in NBA Finals history. And the Spurs find themselves in that situation. It was the first time for everything. Wemby's a great player. He's capable of getting him there. But I just don't see it happening. I think maybe I drank the Kool-Aid a little too hard after they defeated OKC in that Game 7. And Wemby proved himself. He got to the NBA Finals. They upset a team that's probably better than them. They play that series again. The Thunder probably win. But they didn't. And the Spurs did earn the right to be here. But this kind of reminds me of that 2007-ish Cavs team. Because LeBron was 22 years old in that finals when they made the finals for the first time. And he got swept. I was watching the halftime show yesterday with Shaq, Kenny, and the gang and all that. And Chuck made a point to Shaq that even Shaq got swept his first time in the finals in Orlando. It's true. And Wemby, he's 22 years old, same age LeBron was in his first finals when he got swept by the Spurs. And it just seems like that's the case here. Because the average age of the Spurs starting lineup is only 24.4 years old, guys. The Knicks' average starting lineup age is 29. So the Knicks have been there before. They've failed in the postseason before. This group's been together before in a playoff run. Wemby and the Spurs group, they're wet behind the ears. Dylan Harper's never been in the playoffs. I mean, De'Aaron Fox has never played for a legitimate team in the playoffs. He was a King forever. The Kings never made the playoffs ever. So De'Aaron Fox has never been in this spot. Wemby's never been in this spot. This is his first playoff run in his career. And maybe we should have seen this coming. Maybe I shouldn't have drank the Kool-Aid as much as I did because, I mean, it's hard to win a championship, but it's also hard to win a championship at your first go-around when you have never been there before. That stuff matters. And that's why I thought OKC would win that Spurs series. But Wemby proved how great of a talent he is, and he's going to get him some championships in the future. They're not going anywhere. This Spurs team is ridiculously young. And they're going to be here for many years to come, especially in a stacked West. But right now, the Knicks just seem like they're the more grown-up team. They've been here before. They've played together. Karl-Anthony Towns has been around the block before with multiple teams, been in the playoffs, Brunson as well. So I'm just really impressed on what the Knicks have been able to do. And the Knicks are really sort of built to beat the Spurs. Because you have Karl-Anthony Towns, who is, like I put on our Facebook page today, he is what Chet Holmgren wishes he was. He's what Chet Holmgren thinks he is. Because, as we talked about before, Chet Holmgren got absolutely embarrassed and exposed against Wemby and proved that he's not an all-NBA player. He may be the most overrated player in the NBA right now, Chet Holmgren, because of how he played in that Western Conference Finals against Wemby was just embarrassing. Especially that Game 7 of how timid he was on offense. He looked like he didn't even belong in the NBA. He should have been relegated to the G League. That's how it looked. And I know I'm sort of crashing out at this point because it was just embarrassing. Chet Holmgren shouldn't even be a starter at this point. I'd get rid of him if I was OKC. He deserved to get thrown under the bus all day long. Shea he's a great leader. I don't have the patience for that crap. Be aggressive. I'd rather you go 1 for 15 than 2 for 4 or whatever it was. It was ridiculously amount low of shots. I don't have it right in front of me right now any longer, but it was just embarrassing. And Karl-Anthony Towns has done the exact opposite. He has flat out stopped Wemby. Karl-Anthony Towns for the game, he was 21 points, 13 rebounds, double-double, 8 for 12 from the field. That's the kicker right there because, yes, Brunson had 20 points. He had 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and the 5 steals may be the most important part because he played great defense. He's closed these games for the Knicks. He's been a great closer, clutch, and been there when it matters most. I'm not denying that. I'm not saying Brunson's had a bad series. Obviously, he's been a good closer, scored 20-plus points, and had a good defensive game with 5 steals, and they're 2-0. in the finals. So, I mean, well, I'm not saying he's been playing bad basketball, but really, in my opinion, Karl-Anthony Towns is the MVP of the finals to this point. Because not only is he scoring around 20, he's averaging a double-double this series, 21-13, and he's efficient from the field at 8 for 12. Yes, Brunson was great, but he's just not been very efficient from the field. I mean, 7 for 25 from the field is embarrassingly low, guys. That's like Carmelo Anthony level numbers. And it's just taking him a high volume amount of shots, and it's low. He's not being very efficient on the field, on the court, excuse me. So really, Karl-Anthony Towns has been the player of this series, and stopping Wemby and being physical with Wemby. And you can tell it's bothering Wemby. Mitchell Robinson's another big body they put down there when Karl-Anthony Towns is in the game. And Mitchell Robinson's not going to fill the stat sheet up. He's not. He's not. If you're just looking at the stat sheet, not watching the game, you're not going to notice Mitchell Robinson at all. But Mitchell Robinson and Karl-Anthony Towns and the Knicks' Josh Hart in general, OG, they're thick and big. And they have been pushing Wemby, who's skinny, who I questioned his ability of longevity in the NBA because of how small he is. And he's it's sort of showing. He needs to put some weight on. I mean, he's a center for a reason. And we'll get into why position matters here in a minute. You'll see where I'm going with this. But it just seems like that right now the Spurs are the more grown-up team. It kind of reminds me also of that OKC finals against Miami when Kevin Durant, Harden, Serge Ibaka, Westbrook lost to the Heat when LeBron won his first title in 2012. It reminds me of that team because the Heat were just experienced, had been there before, and they just went out there and just destroyed, ultimately in the longevity of a series, a young, inexperienced, wet behind the ears Thunder team. Now, of course, Kevin Durant ended up getting his championships, all that good stuff. We understand that, but he had to go to Golden State to do it. And it kind of reminds me of that series because the Spurs, you can just see the resemblance of that old OKC team. Just a bunch of kids, and that's what it is. And like I said, the Knicks are just a thick team. They're built to sort of stop what San Antonio's wanting to do, which is get Wemby down low. Wemby shot a lot of jump shots in the last night's game. He's not wanting to go to the paint. He doesn't want the ish and the stuff that Mitchell Robinson and Karl-Anthony Towns is dishing out. He don't want that beef. You can tell because Wemby's the best defensive player maybe of all time. I mean, you're looking at, and he's an outstanding big man, a walking double-double. And I mean, last night he had a decent game, yeah, but he didn't have a double-double. And he's been shooting a lot of jump shots because the Knicks have been very physical with him. And you have OG having 17 points. Miles Bridges chipping in with 20. Josh Hart's like their utility player. Good defense, scores points, had a great game one. And then Shamet, 13 points off the bench, hitting threes. And of course, Wemby, like I said, had a good game. 29 points, 9 rebounds, 4 blocks, 11 for 21 from the field. So if you're looking at the stat sheet, yeah, it looks great. But he's shooting a lot of threes in this series. He's shooting more jump shots than he did in the Western Conference Finals. And that's because he doesn't want that ish. And the Spurs don't play their best brand of basketball when he's shooting jump shots and threes. The Spurs are at their best when the point guards are distributing and Wemby's down low. That's when the Spurs are at their best. And the Knicks have been able to stop that with their thick team. And I mean, Fox had a decent game, 20 points, Castle 14, Vassell 14, Harper 15. I mean, so there's sort of the stat line as far as it goes, but I'm not really, as far as game one goes, this is why I think Cat deserves the MVP of the finals at this point. 18 points, 12 rebounds on 7 of 15 shooting. Again, Brunson 30. He'll say, oh, you're hating on Brunson. I love Brunson. He's the greatest Knick of all time. I love Brunson. But we're lying if we think that Cat hasn't been the most impactful player on the court. I mean, because Brunson, even in game one, talk about his inefficiency in game two. In game one, he was 12 for 31 from the field. So that's under 15% also. 50% from the field. So he's just high volume shots, not being very efficient. Great when it matters most, and I'm giving you that. But Cat has been the best player in this series from start to finish, all 4 quarters in both games. And that's just the reality. And I just truly hope the Spurs can get a game, at least a game or two in. Because if they don't win this game 3, it's going to be a massive amount of pressure. Because the president's going to be in attendance. And it's going to be hard for this young Spurs team to go in that environment and get a win, I think. And I hope this isn't a sweep. But this very well may be a sweep, honestly. And it may be a gentleman's sweep at best. Because the Spurs just look way in over their head. Maybe we should have seen that coming. Because what Kevin Garnett said, he had a quote recently sort of talking about how Wemby was crying after winning the Western Conference Finals, and that maybe he was overreacting, and that the mission's not done yet. Why are you like celebrating and overly emotional like that when the job's not done? And he's a young player. Let's not fault Wemby for that, but maybe there is some truth to that statement. And you just see the inexperience, man. From crying after the Western Conference Finals, you'd have thought they won the whole championship. But there's still more work to be done. There's some truth to that. The Knicks bullying Wemby down low. And that turnover late in the game was just that just sort of proved the inexperience. And Wemby held himself accountable after the game, saying that was on him, that he threw the ball away, he shouldn't have done it. And that proves my point on the center. He's a center, and he was shooting a lot of jump shots yesterday, and he was making some, and that's fine. But he does most of his damage down low. Wemby does. And he gets the rebound, and he has the ball in his hand. He's a center. Guards should be handling the ball. And you had all the guards on San Antonio turning around, going up court, like Wemby's going to be bringing the ball up as a center, which makes no sense when you have De'Aaron Fox and Harper on the team and on the court. Just makes no sense when you have two guards bringing the ball up. And Fox is going to take the last shot for you anyway. I just don't understand why Wemby passed that ball almost, and why the guards weren't expecting the ball. Turn around and look for the ball. He's a center, and I get it. Centers can do everything. They shoot threes now. They bring the ball up the court. But Wemby throwing that ball off of the back of his teammate and it going out of bounds at a tie game, and then the Knicks getting the free throw line, and it was just a disaster of a play. Not every turnover is created equal, and it was a disaster of a turnover. And that's just the youth of Wemby. He's 22 years old. This is the Spurs. Like I said, their average age is what I say. Average age of the starting lineup is 24.4 years old. And the Knicks are 29. That's a 5-year age. 5 years in the NBA is a long time. It's an eternity in basketball. 5 years is. A lot can change. So a 5-year difference is just the inexperience showed, especially on that play. In closing moments in a finals game, and that's at home. How's the pressure going to mantle like that on the road? That's all I'm saying. He's throwing the ball off the back of teammates late in the game, turning the ball over at home when the crowd's for you. Now the crowd's going to be totally against you, and you're going to be expected to do the same thing. The Spurs just aren't ready yet. Their time will come. I think the Knicks' time is now. There's not all be a comeback from the Spurs. They may win a game if we're lucky at this point. But that turnover by Wemby was just crucial. And as there's some things that the basketball, I know I talk about the basketball and football gods, but it's just true, guys. And the basketball gods, I'm a guy that believes in positions. Point guard matters, shooting guard matters, power forward, shooting small forward, center, it all matters. That stuff matters. Roles on a team matter. Your sixth man matters. Your bench matter. All of it matters. Positions matter. And with that, your center shouldn't be bringing the ball up the court. Your guard should be. And Wemby does bring the ball up the court sometimes, and that creates confusion, especially in high-pressure situations. And when you're doing that, the guards are going to expect your best player, but it's also your center, to be bringing the ball up and playing more isolation basketball, which is what the NBA is now. It's a lot of one-on-one isolation basketball. They don't really want a lot of plays. They just have a couple sets, and that's really it. There's not a lot of ball movement in the NBA compared to college basketball. You watch the NBA playoffs compared to March Madness, and it just looks totally different because it is. And there is some truth to the fact that classic basketball wins championships because the Knicks play classic basketball. Karl-Anthony Towns isn't bringing the ball up like Wemby does and doing all this weird stuff. Brunson brings the ball up. Josh Hart brings the ball up. Maybe your forwards bring the ball up. But your center does not bring the ball up. Mitchell Robinson doesn't bring the ball up with Cat on the bench. He just doesn't. And Wemby shouldn't either. And I bit him in the butt this time. Because the guard should be automatically Fox, Castle, Vassell, Harper, any of them should be looking for that ball. The moment Wemby rebounds it, to bring the ball up. Because that's just how basketball is meant to be played. The guard brings the ball up and distributes it. That simple. And they weren't expecting that. There was confusion, and Wemby thought the guard should be bringing the ball up, which he's correct. but he didn't make sure his teammate was looking, and then his teammate was sort of be unaware of his surroundings, and it bounced right off of him, man. And it was just sad to see the game end that way for the Spurs, because you want to see a good finals. But that's all I got for this episode of The Unbiased Hard Take. What do you think? What do you think of Wemby's turnover? Do you think the Spurs are cooked? Am I being a Debbie Downer? Is it going to be a sweep? What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Dark times are coming. NBA Finals are here. And then after that, there's no sports till NFL preseason. But we have a lot of things planned for you guys. A lot of things coming. Stay tuned for more news on all that. Fantasy football. We got y'all covered. So, big plans coming for The Unbiased Hard Take. Can't wait for it. Until next time, go Pack, go. Let's go Heat. And bowler up, baby. We'll see y'all this coming week.